Thank you very much for joining us for the main news on Camnet TV today, the 25th of July, 2023. My name is Marco Kozi. Let's take a look at the stories making the headlines. Lusaka residents suspect corruption on land allocated for a shopping complex. CHIENGI member of parliament given KATUTA arrested for assaulting a journalist. TASILA LUNGU laments over cyberbullying. And in international news, Kenya's ODINGA denounces unprecedented police brutality against protesters. And in sports news, power DYNAMOS to face African Stars of Namibia in the CAF Champions League. For details of these and other stories, join us shortly after this break.
Hello Zambia. Greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Sten Pusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibik and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondrečka, both from the Czech Republic as well. The Football League in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. All of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
Welcome back, and now the news in detail. Some concerned citizens in Lusaka have suspected corruption in the construction of a shopping mall opposite Chipata Level 1 Hospital, which is also believed to have encroached on the rail line. The residents have told Camnet News that the area in question is understood to be a reserved space for the temporary car park for the hospital in an event the mortuary at Chipata Hospital is expanded. The residents who spoke on condition of anonymity claim that the complex is being constructed during the day, and in the night they suppress concerns from the community members who have questioned its proximity to the rail line. We have details in the following report.
Repeated calls by government to citizens not to erect structures in the railway reserve seem to be falling on deaf ears. In the latest incident, Lusaka's Mandevu residents have expressed concern on permanent structures which are being erected near the rail line. Whilst Chipata Level 1 Hospital was permitted to erect structures here, the rest of the area was to remain unoccupied. The concerned residents spoke to this reporter on condition of anonymity.
So nabatamira kuti vagari nkombo nakamba vati vanapasa 48 hours kuti vavichosepo pano maitidabwa kuti vikari vienda vibuilding then mukati umu kuri vantu vamanga day and night sivagona paka building yatabanja yanyamuka nonyamuka building ili hapa sizi vangani vandani vavomekeza
kamba tanachapa kuri vazambirenzi vakaribe kuti approve evapitiriza kumanga. So chiri bwanji nishi anabati samu bazambia Railways ma government waganza po bwanji ma government wakambati no president wakamba zero tolerance to corruption.
They suspect corruption in the matter and are calling on relevant authorities to follow up with the issue.
So tofuna government local government wakabwera na Zambia Railways and managing director wa Christopher Musonda wakabwera na venangu na bakwestes wakabwera wakaziona ile vichitika kumbuyo ya Chipata first kunjanji kuno first
but yanga nepo pali building cha bwera hapa nga in case of amanga mamocharies yo kubantu bazakapaka kubwa kufaka mamoto wazambofaka kuti mamotoka ine zinamva kuti zanga ndikapaki ya chipata kliniki kuchoka ku road kuchoka Sangura bo kuchoka ku mochari maisizo vevichitika ni vichana.
Efforts to get a comment from the owner of the building, who is believed to be a foreign national, were unsuccessful. When contacted for a comment, Zambia Railways acting public relations manager Sombe Ngonga since warned of such irregularities.
So this is not just an offense, but it is also a safety risk to the developers, because as Zambia Railways we move various commodities. We move fuels, we move acids, chemicals, and so on and so forth. So in an event that we have a derailment or accident, I think that will be very catastrophic because a lot of lives would be lost. So this is why that reserve land is not permitted for anyone to put up a permanent structure, because it is an offense and also a safety risk to both the illegal developers as well as the passengers for the goods that we may be moving on our line. So we have continued from our end to engage the relevant authorities to see to it that we bring this issue to an end, where people should not be encroaching within the reserve strip.
According to the Rail Act, it is illegal and punishable for anyone to build within 50 meters of either side of the rail line. For Camnet News, Afias KATUTA in Lusaka.
The Zambia Roads and Highway Safety Group has proposed that the Lusaka City Council should move in to decongest the Central Business District, which has been congested by minibuses and taxis. Group Administrator Mutoni Tswabanda has observed that following the removal of street vendors from the Central Business District, minibuses and taxis are now occupying the spaces and still causing congestion in the city. Mr. Banda notes that if the situation is left unchecked, efforts to restore sanity in the streets of Lusaka will be rendered useless due to the lack of order on how drivers are parking their vehicles. We have details in the following report.
We feel that this is a good move to remove street vendors from the roads, because what we noticed was that they've taken over the road and making it impossible for vehicles to pass, and it created a lot of accidents by people trying to avoid pedestrians who are now treading on the road. But what we have also noticed is that in as much as this move is welcome, the space that has been created by vendors moving away has been taken over by two kinds of I would call it traffic nuisance. The first one is motorists that come early in the morning in town to park their vehicles. They park their vehicles and go elsewhere. Others have been known to even go for days. So what you notice now, like we're in town now, you see that there are a lot of vehicles that have been parked since 08 hours and they're only going to move at 17 hours. So it creates a lot of congestion, unnecessary congestion by somebody leaving their vehicle in the parking spaces. The second one is that the buses that come into town have nowhere to park. Our view is that buses should not be allowed to park in town. They should be able to drop passengers and return where they are coming from. If they are coming from Charleston, they should return to Charleston. And in Charleston, that's where they can park. If they have no parking space, they can go to their garages. So you see, like for example, in Kulima Tower right now, the space that was occupied by the vendors, after they moved away, the buses have taken over the same space, the car park that the vendors were using. So if you go to Kulima Tower right now, you find a lot of buses have lined up, and they've also reduced the same road. It's supposed to be 2 lanes, now it's 1 lane. So we feel that the exercise to clean up the city should be extended to the bus stations and also to the car parks. We feel that Lusaka City Council should take advantage of this space that has been created and mark the areas for parking, and also limit the amount of time a person can park. In other cities, you can park for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, even 1 hour, and you get charged for it. But for Zambia, we are used to people parking the whole time. You know, you can park at 7 and leave at 17 is to pay this 5 kwacha, or you don't pay at all. So there has to be restrictions. So our view is that extend this exercise to cleaning up the car park in the CBD, and also ensure that the buses are not allowed to park in the bus stations, but return where they are coming from.
Police in Lusaka have formally arrested and charged CHIENGI constituency member of parliament given KATUTA for assaulting a journalist. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says Ms. KATUTA has been charged with an offense of common assault contrary to the laws of Zambia. Mr. Hamonga reports that police at Emersdale Police Station on 21st of July 2023 received a report bordering on common assault from Henry Chunza, a photojournalist, that whilst on duty at Parliament premises, he was commonly assaulted by Ms. KATUTA. The police spokesperson says brief facts of the matter are that the CHIENGI lawmaker was ordered by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, to leave the House after being suspended from the House for 1 week. As she was walking out, she was irritated by a journalist who was taking photos of her, and that she started screaming at the journalist, spat in his face, manhandled him with the help of other members of parliament, and later forced him to delete the pictures.
Police have today, 25th July 2023, formally arrested and charged Honorable Given KATUTA, Member of Parliament for CHIENGI constituency, for the offence of common assault contrary to Section 247 of the Penal Code Act, Chapter 7 Laws of Zambia. This has followed after police at Emersdale Police Station on the 21st of July 2023 received a report bordering on common assault from Mayor Henry Chuza, age 41, of Mindstone Ngombe compound, a photojournalist from the Times of Zambia, to the effect that whilst on duty at Parliament premises, he was commonly assaulted by Honorable Given KATUTA, an independent Member of Parliament for CHIENGI constituency. This occurred on 21st of July 2023, around 9 hours at Parliament building. Brief facts of the matter are that the Honorable was ordered by the Speaker of the National Assembly after being suspended from the House for 1 week. As she was going out and the journalist was taking photos of her, this irritated her and she started screaming at the journalist, spat in the face of the journalist, manhandled him with the help of other members of parliament, and later forced him to delete the pictures. Among the members of parliament that the complainant identified is area member of parliament for Chawama constituency, Honorable TASILA LUNGU. Police initiated investigations into the matter, which culminated in her arrest today. The suspect has been detained in police custody, waiting to meet the police bond conditions before being released.
It is a Tesi Member of Parliament, Twambo Mutinta, has backed the cause by National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NAKEZ, for the establishment of a financial institution which will be giving cheaper loans and other financial services to teachers. Mr. Mutinta says he is aware that most of the teachers are heavily indebted and that the choking indebtedness is a serious source of concern as it affects their performance. He says, being the largest profession in Zambia, it is possible that teachers can put resources together and set up their own bank for very cheap and affordable loans. He has since called on all teachers in the country to support the initiative as it is progressive and a game changer.
Teaching fraternities should come together and establish a teachers' bank. I strongly feel this call is timely and it's long overdue. As you may be aware, this country has over 100,000 teachers. This is one of the largest workforce in the country. But when you consider what they are going through in terms of access to financing, which is desirable for them to go to universities, desirable for them to start businesses, and also engage on a lot of economic activities, they are facing challenges. The teachers are being subjected to high interest rates by these microfinance companies, by the banks, and coming up with an initiative where they can pool their resources together and start a scheme that will enable them to access cheaper loans. It's something that we need to welcome. Therefore, I want to appeal to the teaching fraternities that they need to put their politics aside, join hands. I appeal to the government to support this initiative, to the Ministry of Education, to initiate and support the teachers, because ultimately we want a teaching fraternity that will be able to deliver the much desired services with a peace of mind without struggling to pay the debts which they've found themselves because of these bad terms that are accessed from the banks. If you look around the sector, you find that the civil society organizations, they've got their own bank, and they are receiving very good terms of conditions in accessing these loans. And we feel that this is a move that should be supported so that it's initiated, and we have the teachers that will be delivering their services with a peace of mind, and they have a source of income.
The Advocates for National Development and Democracy, ANDD, says it is highly expectant that before the end of this week, government will make an official announcement on the handover of KCM to Vendetta Resources and equally review the investor expected to take over the operation at Mopani Copper Mines. Organization Executive Director Samuel Banda says the expectations are high with only a few days remaining to the month end. Mr. Banda says the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, Paul Kabuswe, last week indicated to the public that government will announce the official handover of KCM to Vendetta Resources and the new investor in Mopani Copper Mines before the end of this month. Meanwhile, the Chirinabombwe Vendetta Must Return campaign says it believes government will honor its promise, as failure to do so is betrayal of the trust and confidence that the people of Zambia and the Copperbelt province have in the UPND government.
The Minister of Mines, Honorable Paul Kabuswe, on the 14th July indicated to the public and promised that government will make an official announcement over the handover of KCM to Vendetta Resources within July, within the next few days of July. Therefore, our appeal is that the Minister of Mines should honor his commitment in the handover KCM to Vendetta Resources before the end of this week, so that KCM gets to full production and so that we can create the much needed employment and business opportunities and promote social economic development in our country. We believe that unlocking KCM through Vendetta Resources is a well-progressive step in the right direction towards making our mining sector viable. Let me emphasize that Zambians are highly expectant that this week government should be able to make an official announcement over the handover of KCM to Vendetta Resources and equally review the investor expected to take over the operations of Mopani Mines.
We are confident that the Minister of Mines is going to honor his promise, because failure to do so is to betray the trust and confidence of the people of the Copperbelt that we have in the Minister of Mines, that we have in the President, that we have in the UPND government to resolve the issues surrounding our mining sector. Right now on the Copperbelt, things are bad. The miners are being laid off like no man's business. People are losing jobs. The mine is dying due to lack of recapitalization. There is no corporate social responsibility going on. Copperbelt province is limping. It is probably the worst economy in Zambia right now. And this is owing to the fact that the mining sector is non-functional at the moment. We are pleading to government to make sure that in the case of KCM, Vendetta Resources is given the asset as soon as possible, especially as promised in the next 6 days.
Tawama constituency lawmaker TASILA Lungu says cyberbullying must be dealt with, as it does not only negatively affect female parliamentarians but society as a whole. Speaking with Camnet News, Ms. Lungu says if left unchecked, the vice can leave an indelible mark in the lives of many people who may not be able to cope with the trauma associated with online violence. She says regulating social media is vital in promoting responsible content provision, further stating that some people have opted to hide behind online platforms to scandalize others. Cyberbullying is used as an umbrella term to describe many different kinds of online abuse, including but not limited to harassment, doxing, reputation attacks, and revenge.
Cyberbullying as an umbrella term to describe many different kinds of online abuse, including but not limited to harassment, doxing, reputation attacks, and revenge porn. To constitute cyberbullying, the perpetrator uses technology such as computers, consoles, cell phones, or any other device with access to internet or social media to harass, stalk, or abuse another person by instigating or participating in online hate campaigns. Zambia, just like other countries, is facing this problem that is presenting itself as an affront to freedom of speech and association. Despite being a democratic state, the country has also seen polarization, with most people separated between the Reds and the Greens, or those for the ruling party and others from the opposition. Chawama Member of Parliament TASILA LUNGU says cyberbullying does not only undermine the participation of women in politics, but also affects society as a whole.
Some of them have committed suicide out there. So this is so serious. You know, they're young, they're just developing, and they're coming up in a world that cyberbullying has become the biggest issue. When I was coming up, just bullying, regular bullying, we had bullies at school. But now these bullies are hiding behind keyboards. And you know, the false sense of this confidence that people have when they're behind a phone, and then when I'm sitting with you now and we're connecting and we're communicating. And even if I was a bully, for instance, and I'm bullying you when we're next to each other, it's a different ballgame. When I'm behind a keyboard, it's something else also. Yeah, so it's not just something that's going to affect politicians, women only, the whole of society. I think let's be a bit more responsible in our reporting and what we post out there.
And speaking when he featured on the Camnet TV breakfast show, Zambian Cybersecurity Initiative Foundation President John CHIENGI says as the country reforms cybersecurity laws, there's a need to comprehensively resolve the issue of cyberbullying.
For your advantage, to your advantage, and take those offenders to book. Because Facebook today has become a dangerous place. They keep insulting each other. There are a lot of new celebrities popping up with insults. I think the government should rise. If there should be maybe an agency that just looks at cyberbullying alone, and the Ministry of Tech and Science that just says, fine, in cyberbullying that we find online, we're coming for you. Even if it's not reported, as long as you have done it, we're coming for you. Then the ministry now should be the complainant, and that one should now be the defendant. That's the only way we're going to sort out this matter. For as long as we say, let whoever feels offended, go and report it, it is not going to work. So, as this act is being revised, we at the foundation, we want to take up such kind of tasks.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, says by addressing root causes of gender inequalities, gender transformative approaches ultimately contribute to the equal distribution of power, resources, and opportunity between men and women. Speaking at the commemoration of the 2023 World Population Day and launch of the United Nations Population Fund's flagship report in Lusaka Tuesday, UNFPA representative Seth Brookman says realizing sexual and reproductive health and rights for all is the foundation of gender equality, dignity, and opportunity. Meanwhile, United Nations representative to Zambia, Beatrice Mutari, says it is saddening to note that voices of women and girls are largely absent in matters that directly affect them, thereby limiting their potential of meaningful contribution to development. We have details in the following report.
Zambia has today, 25th of July 2023, commemorated the 2023 World Population Day under the theme Unlocking the Power of Gender Equality, uplifting the voices of women and girls to unlock Our World's Infinite Possibilities. While at the same meeting, the nation's Population Fund's flagship report has been launched, whose content calls for a radical rethink of how population numbers are framed as governments increasingly adopt policies aimed at raising, lowering, and maintaining fertility rates. And United Nations Population Fund representative spoke to the need for the world to realize reproductive health and rights for all as a fundamental for gender equality, dignity, and opportunity.
All women currently between 20 and 24 years of age were married before the age of 18. And that almost 4 in 10 women and girls in Zambia have experienced gender-based violence. Realizing sexual and reproductive health and rights for all is the foundation for gender equality, dignity and opportunity.
Political parties should proactively attract young women and provide opportunities for engagement for them in decision-making structures to ensure that there is adequate women's participation in politics and that there is no generational gap.
In speaking at the same meeting, United Nations Resident Coordinator to Zambia, Beatrice Mutali, expressed sadness at the fact that voices of women and girls are largely absent in matters that directly affect them, thereby limiting their potential to meaningfully contribute to development.
It's clear that women and girls bring unique perspectives and experiences to the table. By uplifting their voices, we encourage the sharing of diverse ideas and solutions to complex global challenges. This leads to more comprehensive and innovative approaches in areas such as healthcare, education, environmental sustainability, and social issues.
And the Zambian government, through the finance minister who spoke virtually, says Zambia has a very young population, with 45.3% of the population comprising of children below the age of 15, which has created a huge dependence burden for both families and the government, as resources are mostly spent on making provisions for people who are not contributing to economic productivity, and that if nothing is done, the nation will continue to face challenges.
Government, therefore, in this pursuit of harnessing the demographic dividend, is aligned to the fact that advancing gender equality is a cross-cutting solution to many population challenges.
To achieve sustainable development, we need to recognize the collaboration between government and stakeholders institutions as the programs towards gender equity and sustainable development are being implemented.
By the close of November 2022, the world's population had hit 8 billion people. This posed 8 billion opportunities for humanity, 8 billion reasons to build healthier and more equitable society, and 8 billion unique stories towards a sustainable and resilient planet. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Advocates of the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation have supported the motion of the return of the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs. Parliament is tomorrow expected to debate the return of the ministry after it was abolished in 2021. Advocates Chairperson Birimfula says reducing the ministry to a department is not enough for the nation considered as a Christian nation.
We strongly believe that the returning of this Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs in this country shall actually be a move in the positive direction. Yes. Because we are a Christian nation. And so having a ministry that is out there to ensure that the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation is actualized is a good move. If we were a secular state, even just a department would do us some good. But the fact that we are a Christian nation, we need a full-fledged ministry to ensure that there is an actualization of this covenant that Zambia is actually in with God, so as to make sure that the morality of the nation is on check, yes, from government level going down to all the citizens. We have seen clearly, as we have practically experienced working with a department and working with a full-fledged ministry. We know that when we had a full-fledged ministry working with the church, people may be concerned with the roles that the ministry was doing with regards to the mother bodies, church mother bodies. Beloveds, what we need now as a nation will be just a clear definition of the roles of this ministry of national guidance, so that there can be a good harmonization, a working together between the church mother bodies and the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs, that will stand in as a bridge between church and government. It must be clear that a church mother body cannot do what a government ministry is able to do with regards to policy making and contribution, because for the ministry, the minister of the ministry will be seated in cabinet, and be able to speak what the church may actually be echoing. If we only remain with mother bodies at that particular level, how will we be represented well in matters with regards to policy and be a voice for us as a church within the government?
A Lusaka couple that was recently sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for illegally possessing the famous 51 houses have appealed against their conviction. Charles Loyana, a former senior accountant at the Ministry of Finance, and his wife, Susan Loyana, a former accountant at the Ministry of Works and Supply, were found guilty last month and sentenced to 3 years in prison. The duo has filed 16 grounds of appeal against the Lusaka Magistrate Court judgment dated the 30th of June 2023. Among them, that the trial magistrate erred in law and facts when she convicted them on the basis that the money was tainted. We have details in the following reports.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court will this Friday, the 28th of July 2023, hear the bail application pending appeal for a Chalala couple that was recently convicted and sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for illegally possessing the infamous 51 houses. Charles Loyana, a former senior accountant at the Ministry of Finance, and Susan Loyana, a former accountant at the Ministry of Works and Supply, were found guilty and convicted on the 30th of June 2023 on charges relating to possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. Unsatisfied with the judgment, the couple has now rushed to the Lusaka High Court to file 16 grounds of appeal. Their grounds of appeal are that the magistrate erred in law when she found them guilty against the weight of evidence on record. Susan Loyan has also argued that Magistrate Fides Amaundu convicted her without the Anti-Corruption Commission having alleged any suspicion against her. The couple has also submitted that Magistrate Amaundu erred at law and fact when she coined or created her own suspicion of factual issues against them which were not alleged by the prosecution, hence placing herself in the position of the prosecution. Other arguments advanced by the couple are that the lower court erred when it convicted them of the subject offense on the instance that the financing of the properties in question did not correspond with their income from the work they do, when in fact there was clear evidence of how the financing of the acquisition and construction of the properties that it was not financed using their resources. This couple first made headlines when it was alleged that they owned the controversial 48 houses but it was later discovered to be 51 after they were arrested by the Anti-Corruption Commission. ACC later undertook the administrative forfeiture, in which the 51 properties were forfeited to the state pursuant to Statutory Instrument number 58 of 2004. The couple was slapped with 2 counts involving concealment and possession of 51 properties suspected to be proceeds of crime worth more than 37 million kwacha. The couple now awaits whether the Lusaka Magistrate Court will grant their plea for bail, pending appeal on Friday. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Two men of Lusaka's Kasisi compound who were recently arrested by the police on allegation that they took turns in raping a woman appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court Tuesday morning. This is in a matter in which Kelvin Chomba, 26, a block maker, is standing trial alongside 32-year-old Andrew Lungu, also a block maker, on aggravated robbery, personating public officer and rape charges. The duo appeared before Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibwiri, awaiting a certificate of committal from the Director of Public Prosecution to have their case committed to the Lusaka High Court. Allegations before court are that the accused on the 24th of May 2023 stole the victim's phone and money and later hit her with an object on her head. After that, the duo is alleged to have raped her and left her unconscious at a nearby bush. On that note, we break for some commercials. We have more news coming up. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, chew me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Hello Zambia. Greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Stenpusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibik and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondračka, both from the Czech Republic as well. Football league in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. All of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
Thank you very much for staying with us. We continue with the news. The German government has given 750 million kwacha to the Zambian government for the upgrading of water and energy sector projects in the eastern and southern provinces. Speaking at the signing ceremony between the Ministry of Finance and KfW Germany Development Bank, Germany Embassy Head of Development Cooperation Bernhard Trutner says the grant will see the upgrading of water and sanitation reticulation systems in Chipata, Katete, Choma and Livingstone. Mr. Trutner says his country has provided the grant due to the success the debt restructuring program, which he says has opened opportunities for more grant financing for Zambia. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane says the support that Zambia will receive through the urban water supply and sanitation and the management of water resources and sanitation for medium-sized towns project will contribute to government's objective to improving sanitation and in the targeted districts of the country. Dr. Msokotwane says Zambia regards Germany as one of the most significant cooperating partners in view of the support that it has been extending since independence. The Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has warned oil marketing companies and petroleum retail dealers against deliberately holding back sales of petroleum products, especially the days leading up to the announcement of the monthly pricing review. The caution comes against the background of purported stock out reports at some filling stations prior to the ERB price review announcements. ERB Acting Director General Alfred Mwila says the practice is an offense under the conditions of the license to retail petroleum products. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwila says the board will continue with the monthly review of fuel pump prices as the mechanism has proved to be efficient.
Colleagues, we continue to monitor the fuel situation on a daily basis, and we are alive to the fact that we did experience, especially for petrol, in the month of June and July, some isolated cases of persistent shortages. With this regard, but petrol has improved. We consider ourselves unsafe if we have stock days of up to 15 days. That's when we critically start monitoring the situation on the ground to ensure that all the logistical issues are not constraining a further downward slide to below 15 days. So with regard to petrol, we have crossed over the 15 days threshold. As at yesterday, we're sitting somewhere about 17 days of stock days, which is considered safe. With regard to diesel, diesel has been fairly stable. We have noticed a slight downward movement, to slightly just below the 15 days. Not much of a concern, but however, we've instituted measures to ensure that we address all the factors that could be responsible for this downward movement in the stock days for diesel. With regard to hoarding of fuel, this is a contravention of the license condition. A holder of a license needs to inform the ERB if they have any challenges with stockouts. And indeed, if they have to hold fuel and not dispense to the public unnecessarily, then that's a contravention of a license condition for which enforcement action is undertaken. Each time when there's a price announcement, we do send out inspectors to go and verify cases of hoarding.
There were about 220 complaints that were forwarded to ZESCO, and ZESCO was summoned in the first quarter. So an enforcement action was undertaken against ZESCO, and they were penalized. That money has since been paid to the Energy Regulation Board.
Journalists have been called upon to help demystify negative beliefs about persons living with disabilities through their work, as they are key drivers of information dissemination in society. Zambia National Association for Persons with Physical Disabilities, ZNAPD Executive Director Douglas Mukusa, notes that despite several strides in ensuring quality and equity, persons with disabilities still suffer from deep-rooted negative norms that harm them. Speaking during a recently held consultative meeting with the media practitioners and trainers, Mr. Mukusa implored the media through reporting to end norms that demean persons with disabilities, such as avoid language which makes them look like charity objects.
Despite the United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities recognizing that every human being is entitled to inherent dignity and equal, inalienable rights of all members of the human family, persons with disabilities continue to struggle with acceptance in today's society. Apart from demeaning ways, some persons with disabilities, such as those living with albinism, continue to suffer from unwarranted physical attacks due to unfounded cultural beliefs. Just in 2023, 12 suspects were arrested in Mongo Western Province for attempting to sell a 17-year-old male living with albinism. In some extent, this scenario has been seen to be perpetuated by media portrayals which demean persons with disabilities in choice of words and context. It is for this reason that the Zambia National Association of Persons with Physical Disabilities, ZNAPD, has implored journalists and media trainers through their work to help end discrimination against persons with disabilities. ZNAPD Executive Director Douglas Mukusa says media as a mirror of society is key to turn the tables.
So society has perceived persons with disability as slow learners, slow thinkers, difficult to understand, troublesome, noise makers, pitiful, demandful, which is not the case. Just as we would like to receive accurate information on the needs of persons with disability, it is only a knowledgeable media that can bring out the truth on persons with disabilities.
Speaking during a recently held consultative meeting with the journalists and trainers, Mr. Makusa also urged the trainers to deliberately inculcate interest in student journalists on reporting on disability issues.
Just like anybody else, persons with disabilities need education. They need employment. They need social protection. They need marriage and family life, legal protection, accessible environment, better health, mobility appliances, to mention just a few.
Lecturers from the University of Zambia and even on college appreciated the core and disclosed plans of their institutions on the matter.
We bring in the aspect of disability as well. Yes. Correct. So that's the way I'm looking at it already. Because then it will be, is it media and minorities, or how should it be going? Yeah. So perhaps from here we shall start working together and see how we can improve on that one.
I think if we start early to inculcate the culture of the would-be journalists to pick up the appropriate trends in training, then even as they go into the industry, they'll be able to practice what they learned.
For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula in Lusaka. On that note, we break for some commercials. Still ahead, we have international and sports news. Don't go away.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Hello Zambia. Greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Stenpusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibik and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondrečka, both from the Czech Republic as well. Football league in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. All of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
Welcome back, and now in international news, veteran Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga on Tuesday denounced unprecedented police violence during the anti-government and anti-expense protests that have been taking place in the East African country in recent months. Since March, the opposition coalition Azimio has organized 9 days of action against the policies of President William Ruto, sometimes resulting in looting and clashes with the police. According to Azimio, at least 50 people have been killed since March, some 20 according to official figures. Here is now a roundup of international news.
Veteran Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga on Tuesday accused the government of pursuing an ethnic agenda in its crackdown on protesters in recent weeks. While talking to reporters in Nairobi, Odinga denounced what he termed as unprecedented police brutality against demonstrators.
With the constitutional guarantee for protests. We never imagined that police would allow protests, confront protesters, and kill so many as is the case now. We never expected the state-sponsored genocide that is taking place.
Odinga's party claims more than 50 people have been killed so far by security forces. He also accused President William Ruto of refusing dialogue.
I myself have said I'm ready to sit with other people to discuss these issues. He is actually pretending, is living in delusion that we don't have a crisis.
Raila Odinga's Azimio coalition called weekly protests to denounce the high cost of living, which he blames on the bad economic policies of the ruling Kenya Kwanza government.
A Libyan guard on patrol near the border with Tunisia. He's discovered a stranded man with a 4-month-old baby.
Right here. See this baby? Can you imagine how difficult it is for a baby this young to survive under the hot sun? We need to document this, and hopefully international organization will do so too. For God's sake, this is so wrong.
Temperatures here reach 50 degrees Celsius and the family has no water or food. Hundreds of migrants have been rounded up by Tunisian security forces in the city of Sfax in recent weeks. Some have been left here in the middle of the desert, they say, with no access to healthcare or any type of humanitarian support. Others are stranded in a narrow buffer zone between Tunisia and Libya. Conditions are dire. The migrants say they're desperate and are appealing to the United Nations for help.
We are begging on the new end to please come to our aid. We are suffering here brutally. Look at our skin have been infected with different infections, no treatment, no food. They have been maltreating us maliciously, which is very wrong. Maltreating our women, raping our women, destroying our phone.
Tunisia and the European Union recently announced a deal aimed at stopping migrant boats and shutting down people smuggling operations. Tunisian President Kais Saied has said migrants arriving there receive humane treatment. But Human Rights Watch has accused the Tunisian government of collective expulsion of black migrants. Many say they've been trapped here for more than 2 weeks, and they're frustrated more isn't being done to help them. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
And now in sports news, the 2022-2023 Super League champions Power Dynamos have been drawn against Namibian champions African Stars in the CAF Champions League preliminary round. African Stars were crowned champions of Namibia after an impressive run that saw them a record 22 wins, 1 loss and 7 draws in 30 games. Winners of this fixture will proceed and face Tanzanian giants Simba FC. Meanwhile, Maestro United Football Club, Muza FC, will face Kano Sports of Equatorial Guinea in the first round, in the preliminary round of the 2023-2024 CAF Confederations Cup. This follows a preliminary stages draw conducted Tuesday afternoon at the CAF headquarters, starting for the Total Energies CAF Confederation Cup. Winners over the 2 legs will face off against Diabolos Noir from the Congo Republic in the next round. Muza is making their maiden appearance in the CAF Confederations Cup after a stellar season.
In the second preliminary round. Next 2 will play against each other and the winner will play against Simba. African Stars, Namibia. And the winner of African Stars and this team drawn now, which is Power Dynamos from Zambia, will play against Simba, as explained before. Next two balls will play against each other, and the winner will play against Diable Noir of Congo. Canospor, Equatorial Guinea. Canospor from Equatorial Guinea will play against Maestro United from Zambia. And the winner of this fixture will play against Diable Noir. The next two fixtures will play against each other, and the winner will play against Sagrada Esperanza. We cannot have the team of Lobito from Angola drawn. In case it's drawn, it will go to the next fixture, because as explained, we don't want two teams from the same country to face each other in the preliminary rounds. Ferroviário de Maputo from Mozambique. Ferroviário de Maputo from Mozambique will play the first leg at home, and the second leg will be played at the home of the opponent, which is Belle Lumière from Comoros. Belle Lumière from Comoros, and the winner will play against Sagrada Esperanza from Angola.
On that sporting note, we come to the end of tonight's menus. But before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made the headlines. Lusaka residents suspect corruption on land allocated for a shopping complex. CHIENGI member of parliament given KATUTA arrested for assaulting a journalist. TASILA LUNGU laments over cyberbullying. In international news, Kenya's ODINGA denounces unprecedented police brutality against protesters. And in sports news, power DYNAMOS to face African Stars of Namibia in the CAF Champions League. And before we go, we now look at today's Camnet verse of the day, coming from the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7, and it reads, "Do not be deceived, God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." That's it. That's all we had for the 1930 bulletin. Don't forget to join us for another bulletin. On behalf of the entire production crew, have a blessed night.